Hey everybody, welcome back to My Plant-Based Cooking. Today we're going to make some tofu barbecue wings with a side of broccoli. And to do that, I'm going to get some tofu that I have already prepared. Now I'm going to tell you how to prepare it. Take your block of tofu out of the fridge and drain the water out of it. Put it in a Tupperware container or any glass dish with a lid and put it in the freezer. Now let that freeze overnight. The next day, get it out of the freezer and lay it on the counter to thaw. When you get home in the afternoon, it should be thawed out. Make sure you drain as much water as you can out of it again. Then put it back in the freezer that next night. When you get up, get ready for work the next day, pull it out of the freezer again, leave it out to thaw. This is what I did last night. When I went to bed about 11 o'clock, I pulled it out of the freezer and I let it thaw out. That way it'd be ready this morning. So that changes the texture of tofu. This is extra firm, but it will change the texture to be more of a chicken base. So that's where we're gonna get started today. Okay, so we're gonna start our recipe with some aquafaba, which is the juice out of a can of chickpeas. You can also use non-flavored almond milk, but this is what I have on hand today. So take your block of tofu that you've already prepared the 2 days before, and we're just gonna pull it apart into wing-sized bites, pretty much like you would get the boneless wings at Pizza Hut or any place like that. Now, I don't like them especially thick because you want them to be fried and coated, so they should pull apart really easy. So see, that's kind of a big chunk, so we're gonna go ahead and pull it apart again. But do you see the texture I'm talking about? So it's got the sponginess and the firmness of chicken. It's not like regular tofu just falling apart. So that'll change the consistency, and once it's fried, it should take on even more of the texture and flavor. Okay, so now we're gonna work on the breading for the wings. And first we're just gonna use about 1/4 cup of flour to start. We'll move that out of the way. Then we're gonna do about 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. Then we're gonna add some salt and pepper to the mix, as always. And then just give that a stir. You can stir it with your fingers. Should I do that differently? So once your components are mixed up, we're just gonna do the dipping process. And while we do that, we're gonna have some oil preheating in the skillet behind us. I'm just gonna use extra virgin olive oil. Just cover the bottom of the pan a little bit more, just enough to fry the wings in. We're just gonna let that warm up while we get everything else ready. So next we're gonna take all of our wings, we're gonna dip them in the aquafaba and then roll them in the breadcrumbs and have them ready to go for our oil. So this is one of my favorites because I used to love wings from the local pizza place. I would order the boneless wings almost every weekend. And it's just one of those things you miss when you start eating plant-based. So now we're gonna take these over and put them in the oil. So these are gonna take just a couple minutes on each side. And then we're gonna roll them in sauce. We're just gonna steam this broccoli up to put on the side. You can use any veggies. Also, celery is a common one. Celery, carrots. We're gonna flip them over. You can see they're already getting golden on one side. It really doesn't take just a minute for these. They're a good, quick, last-minute meal. I always keep a block of tofu in my freezer for this reason. If I know some people are coming over later, if it's something they might like, I just pull it out, fry them up, and serve it. Then we're gonna add some broccoli to the pot since it's what I'm using for the side dish today. And we're gonna steam this super simple. You can buy the steamable broccoli bags, but I really do prefer fresh because sometimes those just get a little soft. So when your pieces start to look golden brown on each side, just pull them off. We'll check these. I'm gonna turn that one on its side, and it's really versatile. I mean, you can lay it however you need to get those sides crispy. I'm gonna give this broccoli a toss in the hot water. And as that water warms up, it'll just steam this really nice. You know it's done when it gets a good color on it. This should be a really bright green. This really doesn't take just a few minutes. I don't recommend walking away from the stove because everything finishes really quick. So the breading just makes them crispy on the outside, and since we changed the texture of the tofu on the inside, it's gonna have a very, very fried chicken texture. So while these last few pieces of tofu finish up, I'm gonna go ahead and put the broccoli in a separate bowl. There we go. Make sure everything's off, and I'm just gonna pull these last few pieces off. There we go. Okay, so if you have kids, it'd be a great time to pour some of the barbecue sauce, your choice, into a Tupperware dish and just let them shake it around and have a good time before you serve it. But I'm just gonna roll it in the bowl, toss it around with a fork, and then we'll taste test and see how it turns out. All right. And I'm gonna do another. Awesome. I'm gonna do another roll too. So you don't have to use this much sauce. If you like yours a little on the drier side, you can also use like a buffalo wing sauce. I prefer the barbecue, but these are yours. So you can make them personally. You can dip some of them in different things. The Follow Your Heart Ranch I know is really good for dipping sauces. I don't happen to have any of it on me right now, but it would be a great one to dip these wings in. And you can even make these for appetizers. Super Bowl Sunday's coming up, football games, anything. I think a lot of men in your life would be surprised to know that these weren't chicken. I'm actually gonna serve these to some of my friends who've never tried them before tonight as well. So we'll see what they think. Comment below, as always, if you try these. Let me know if you like them, if you've ever done this, freezing the tofu twice. I absolutely want to know. And if you have any tips or tricks, because I'm still learning as well. Okay, done with that. For the taste test, guys. Now these are gonna be super hot. So you might want to let them cool for a minute, but I'm gonna cut one here. So if people were coming over, I would just plate them individually, give them all 4 or 5 with maybe a little ramekin of the Follow Your Heart Ranch. But if you get a close-up look, it even takes on the texture of chicken on the inside. So we'll give it a go. This surprises me every time I eat it. It really does surprise me how realistic this is. It almost messes with my head a little bit. I hope you guys enjoy. Again, comment below if you tried. I'd love to know what you think. Have a good one.